and discrediting even the victim's injuries. So I think that really is what kind of changed things the second time around, is the defense's different approach. Here they come.
Right here.
I just want to say two things. Number one is I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters who have supported me and my team financially and, more importantly, emotionally for almost 4 years. And the second thing I want to say is no one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have and my team. Thank you.
So you want to see it reopened? Karen, you want to see the case reopened? Should the case be reopened? No, the case cannot be reopened. This case is over. No, I mean, the case is searching for somebody else. What did you say? This is what you're saying about justice. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it to Karen. And her dad. Her dad has a comment. Let her dad make a comment. Mr. O'Keefe, what did you
Thank
say
you,
about justice?
Mr. Reed. I want to acknowledge the strength of our daughter, Karen, the support of the entire Reed extended family. I want to acknowledge the greatest team of attorneys. Our first one that we found was David Yannetti. We added Alan Jackson and Liza Little. Bob Alessi, you know about. All right? It was a fantastic team, but we needed them all to defeat this. We thank everybody for their support from the heart. We love you all of the content providers who help spread the word. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Investigation. Let's do this.
You've been watching CBS News Boston's coverage of the verdict in the Karen Reed trial. She is the woman charged in the 2022 fatal hit and run that killed her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. She was found not guilty of second-degree murder and manslaughter, but was found guilty in the third charge, operating under the influence of alcohol. The judge sentenced Reed to 1 year probation after the verdict read. Reed says she is being framed by a police and a cover-up. This is the first case. The first case ended in a mistrial. We have been seeing quite a scene play out outside that courtroom in Dedham, Massachusetts. More than 1,000 people were out there cheering when Karen Reed exited the courthouse. You even saw pink confetti. She went up to the microphone and she thanked her supporters, and she also made a point of saying no one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than she did. Again, Karen Reed was found not guilty on murder and manslaughter, but was found guilty of operating under the influence. I want to bring in trial attorney and legal analyst Robin Nunn, who has been watching this as well. Robin, what a scene outside that courthouse. Just first of all, what do you make of this verdict?
Yeah, it's interesting. The Karen Reed verdict tells us something powerful. Juries won't convict on serious charges unless every piece of the puzzle fits. And they're not afraid to question the integrity of an investigation when there's smoke around the process. I think that's what my biggest takeaway from this is.
Yeah, and let's just remind our viewers, prosecutors said that Reed she had been out drinking with her boyfriend, and then they said she backed into him with her SUV and left him to die in the snow. Her defense argued that the whole case is a frame job and a shoddy investigation by police officers. So kind of walk us through, how did the jury come to this decision?
Yeah, I think it all boiled down to the prosecution had a very high burden, proving not just that Karen Reed was intoxicated, but that she backed into her boyfriend and left him to die. The defense didn't really have to prove who did kill him. They just had to prove that there was reasonable doubt that she indeed actually did that. And clearly, quite frankly, there was.
I mean, emotions were running high. We were listening to our CBS coverage in Boston. A reporter who was in the courtroom said they could barely hear the verdict because the cheers from outside were so overwhelming. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, I have not. I think it's because the defense actually did a really good job as a defense attorney. I give credit where credit's due. And I think they introduced this alternate theory of a police cover up, which really casts doubt on the investigation itself. And that narrative really resonated and it took over social media and the community really bought into it. And when you see something like, especially after misconduct allegations emerged against the lead investigator, who was eventually removed from the second trial, it just really spun out of control. And the defense really did a good job of playing that up.
I want you to compare this trial compared to the first trial that ended in a mistrial. What were some of the key moments this time around that made a difference?
Yeah, I think that they really kind of honed into their theory with this second retrial. Obviously, they cut out the lead investigator, as I mentioned, which I think was a huge blow to the prosecution. I think the jury would have to notice that the lead investigator is no longer a part of this. I think they obviously had the dog bite expert, right? And that was, another kind of sensational, testimony. They brought experts who really could cast doubt into the prosecution's case that it was her and it was a car and that, she indeed backed into her. I mean, I think there were a lot of good highlights. I think this was really lawyering at its best. And I thought that it was a really tough trial and hard fought.
Robin, the criminal case is over, but there is still a civil case. What happens next?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Karen Reed's acquittal in a criminal court does not prevent the O'Keefe family from pursuing a civil wrongful death lawsuit. And the legal standard in civil court is much lower. All you need is a preponderance of the evidence, not beyond a reasonable doubt. That means even after a not guilty verdict, like we see here, she could still be found liable in the death in civil court. This all may bring up, memories of the O.J. Simpson trial, for instance, right? Where he was acquitted in criminal court, but later found liable in wrongful death in a civil trial. The same thing could happen here.
All right. Robin Nunn.